Hi, my name's Hannah. I'm a senior B.S.P.S student here at URI, and today I'm talking to Dr. King about undergraduate research experiences and opportunities. So to start, how about you briefly describe the research that's taking place in your lab at the moment?
Okay, so yeah, I'm one of the professors here in the college. I've been at URI for just barely over 20 years now, which seems like a very long time, but it's been a lot of fun. And in my research area, I do what is most simply described as drug metabolism research. So we're looking to see of it could be a FDA approved drug, that's prescribed, or the same term is used for environmental chemicals, things in our diet, essentially anything that's not naturally synthesized by our own body. So we take in all of these different compounds and our body wants to excrete them. It wants to get rid of them. So while for a drug, for instance, we want it to be effective for some amount of time, we also want it to be removed from the body in a certain amount of time. So these enzyme pathways that are called drug metabolism pathways end up changing the molecules just enough that they can be excreted from the body. So I look at the experimental methods that are used to determine the rate of clearance. And that's in a nutshell. There's a lot of different ways we study that, but in a nutshell, that's probably a good description of what I've been doing for the past 20 years.
Okay, and what techniques or practices do you utilize in your lab?
My favorite techniques are those that have something to do with biochemistry, analytical kind of chemistry. HPLC, it's one of the major separation methods. We've been doing enzyme incubations with different enzyme sources. So we took some little bits of liver tissue that one of our colleagues had from her animal treatments, and we did things, we homogenized it, we isolated microsomes. So the microsomes are the source for the enzymes. So, these terms don't necessarily mean much until you're actually working with the compounds. So it's so much fun to get in the lab and actually really see what all of these terms mean.
Yeah, it's a much different experience to actually be in the lab hands-on than just learning the concepts. And I think moving forward after graduation, that's going to be a very valuable skill for me to have.
Yeah. And we've been doing it what's called independent study, so it's different every time. And I have just 8 students who are enrolled this semester, and we're doing a certain things. We won't do the same thing the next year, but we also have all of the teaching labs. And I know you got a really good experience with that last fall and last spring with the 2 required teaching lab classes that you had too.
So what would you say to students who are interested in undergraduate research, but not sure how to get their feet wet?
Yeah, I mean, that's the most important thing is just to reach out, have some motivation, have some self-motivation, and reach out through the network of faculty and other students. So usually what we encourage students to do is to have a little bit of homework where they look at the websites of the different professors, because we do vastly different things. We have 4 major distinctions in terms of the type of work that's done, the type of studies, but they're vastly different. So is to look at the different areas, see maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 that you might be interested in, send them an email or stop by their office and say hello, introduce yourself. Or often you're in classes with these same faculty. So again, go up to them, introduce yourself, say, I'm interested. And usually that starts a conversation. And it's just a matter of sort of timing as to when you can do something with that professor's research or that professor's lab. So usually these things are set up a semester in advance, sometimes a little bit longer in advance, sometimes much shorter lead time. The conversation starts it all.
And how many semesters would you recommend that undergraduate students have? Is there a set number, or
there's definitely not a set number? So, anything greater than 0, and the length of time doesn't always correlate with the extent or the quality of the experience. So even 1 semester worth can be, really all a student needs, all a person needs. The more experiences you can get, or the deeper experiences in the same lab, the better off, just because you have more variety. Some students start in a lab and stay there multiple semesters. Other students start in one place and then go to a different area and then a different area. It's really all up to the kind of individual guidance between the students and the professors. We're never doing the same thing every day, never.
That's part of what makes it so exciting, I think.
For me, at least, yeah, too. And I think for the students as well.
Yes, and for us, it's always nice to just, like I said, have that hands-on experience and really get in there and learn or apply what you've learned in your classes.
And they learn a lot, not just from the professor themselves, but from other people in the lab. So there's postdoctoral fellows in the lab, there's PhD and master's students in the labs, and there's other undergraduates in the labs. So anyone with more experience has a wealth of knowledge to share.
Yes, and would you recommend that all students get involved, or all B.S.P.S students get involved in research, or just those particularly interested in pursuing a career in research?
Well, that's a really hard question to answer. Certainly, it's not going to hurt anyone. If you want to find out if this is the type of work that you enjoy, then certainly getting into it, you can do like bench work in the labs. There's also quite a few areas that do different kinds of computer work, computational work of all different kinds. And so really just getting the experience and exploring. The advantage of doing some kind of research project is that it's fairly wide open, but it's very much figure it out as you go along. And so that's different than, any classroom situation. That's different than many of the different teaching labs, but it really gives you a good idea as to what kind of environment you might want to work in. And that's, the more you can learn about different possibilities, the better.
Absolutely. Well, I think that was all of my questions.
Great. Thanks so much, Hannah.
Thank you.